Welcome back to the Blender 3 Docwalk. In this video, we are going to be going over the regions document. Alright, let's hop into Blender and check this out. Okay, so regions. Now, every editor has a set of its own regions. So we're going to go ahead and go through the 3D viewport regions. Okay, so this whole area, this is the main region. This is the main region of the 3D viewport editor. Up here, across the top, underneath your top bar, you have your header. Now, all editors will have a header of sorts. The header is where you're going to have editor-specific menus and tool buttons, that sort of thing, kind of your main functions area. However, for every editor, your header obviously is going to change. Every editor is going to have its own unique instances of its specific menus and special tool buttons and that sort of a thing. If you right mouse click on the header of any editor, you're going to get a context menu. Context menu, context menu. We went over some of the context menu options in the last video, but that's basically your context menu. So there you've got it. Every editor's got it. Every editor has a header. Since the documentation goes over the context menu, why don't we go over it as well? Show header, that obviously will make the header go away. Show tool settings, show menus. So your menus are going to be the drop downs on the far left there. See that? Show tool settings. That's going to nix all those. We went over flip to bottom in the last video. I guess just in case you missed that one, there you go. It's going to pull it down to the bottom. For whatever reason you might want that, we'll bring it back. Vertical split, horizontal split. Again, that was all in the last video. If you want to get more familiar with those, go ahead and check out the last video if you haven't seen it already. There's maximize area, full screen area, also last video, duplicate area. The rest of this close area is just going to close out the entire area. So that's pretty much your context menu. Your toolbar resides on the far left area of your editor, or at least for this editor, it's going to reside in the far left area. If I hit T, it disappears. See that little guy going away? Bye, hi, bye, hi. Okay. Every workspace, the 3D viewport is going to have a very specific different set of tools. Okay, so those are your tools. Okay, your tool settings will alter. Your tool settings will alter as you select new tools. So for instance, you can see I now have a new selection of tool options to choose from up here as I continue to alter the active tool. Okay, now there's a special region that comes up after you make an action. So for instance, if I take I'm gonna select this guy, I'm going to move it, and as soon as I'm done moving it, I'm not going to do anything else. You're going to see a region pop up in the lower left hand corner of the view screen. Okay, see this guy right down here? It says move. Okay, this is your adjust last operation region. If I click on that, I have a set of parameters that define the move action or the move operation. So for instance, if I want to move along the x-axis, I wanted to move a little bit along the x-axis, I can alter that. I can specify. I can even punch in a very specific number. That'll be too crazy. Let's do 10. Okay, and now that has gone up the z-axis 10 meters. It really depends on what tool you just used. Now the options, the adjust last operation region displays is completely dependent on what tool you just used. For example, if I use, let's use a scale tool. Now, and I'll scale it one way. Resize comes up. Oh, that wasn't a good example, was it? Let's do rotate. Okay, that's mildly different. As you get into other tools and more exotic tools, you can sometimes see a region pop up with just an mind-boggling array of different options to alter. But that's what it does. It adjusts your last operation. So whatever you just did, you can fine-tune it. That's what that's there for. All right, another region that turns out to be extremely helpful is your sidebar. Now, if you hit the letter N on your keyboard, when you're in the 3D viewport, you should see something slide out from your right-hand side. There you go. Now, another way to bring this out is if you go up to this little arrow. Do you see it? There's a little arrow right there coming right out of the side of the separator here. If I click on that, my sidebar is going to pop out. Now the sidebar contains settings for whichever specific object you have selected. If I come over here and select the cube, I now have properties specific to the cube. See, I can change its locations, I can change its rotation, whatever you want to do here. And don't forget you have 3 other tabs, which can also alter several different properties of your selected object. So, for instance, if I come over here and select my camera, these are now the properties of my camera. Okay. All right. Some editors will have a footer that displays information about your specific editor. One example of that would be here. Let's hop over here to your geometry nodes. And you will see over here in this editor, there's a footer here, which if I right click it, it's very similar to the header. Okay. It just has options and information about that specific editor. Okay, let's go ahead and hop back. Okay, let's take a look at the sidebar region again. Now, if I come right up next to it, you'll see you can see the double arrow sign coming up again. I can actually collapse it using that all the way down. Now, once it's all the way collapsed, you'll see that the same arrow shows up here again, and that is how I can re-expand it. So, pretty cut and dry. Other regions that do not have a 3D viewport or do not have some sort of like 3D area, in the 3D area, your mouse wheel or your scroll will zoom the area. However, in areas where it is not zoomable, like for example here, your scroll will squeeze down, while yet still other areas. Let's find a good example here. It is the clicking your middle mouse button and dragging will pivot. Whereas within the context of an editor with a 2D surface, clicking your middle mouse button and dragging will just simply drag it around like that, while the scroll wheel will still actually zoom in and out. Okay, well that is it for the regions documentation. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in, let's see what's coming up next. I will see you guys in the next video.